Hello YouTube, welcome to another episode of Angry Dave's Adult RC. This is your host, Angry Dave. Anybody under 13 should probably be watching something else. Everybody else, let's get fucking down to it. So today we're going to take a quick look at my tracks, see the kind of places where I bash my RCs and the kind of shit you can do in your own yard if you have the time and the want. I'm going to start out here with the short course. As you can see right about here, this piece of 2x4, that's the starting line. You back the trucks up against there. You probably get 6 or 8 trucks depending on what you're running, and you take off this direction. Not a whole lot going on in the first little bit. Round the corner, come back down the back straightaway there, and here's your first jump. There's also a driver stand here. There's a few different places around the track where you can stand to drive your truck, but you jump this, and the idea is to land on this downslope. And if you land just right and hit the throttle, it'll slingshot you down the extension straightaway here into the berm. Got a nice big berm fucking dug out there with a wall and everything. And then you come flying back the other side to a nice prepped uphill jump. And if you hit this with a lot of speed, you can really get some serious fucking air and really get some distance going down this straightaway. We've jumped trucks all the way down into that corner a few times. So then you get down into the corner, and it's kind of hard to tell on camera, but right as you get into the camera, there's a big G out. So if you're already turned when you go into the corner, you'll drop into that, catch your outside wheel, and roll into the other part of the track. It's funny to watch other people do it. It's annoying as hell if you do it yourself. So then you come around the corner. You can either single those or try to double them. It takes some real knowledge of your rig to be able to double this and not fuck your truck up smashing into this one right here, or over clearing it and ending up in the fucking tank trap on this corner right here. This is a pretty violent hole. It won't necessarily damage your truck, but it's incredibly possible for it to be damaged, and it's virtually impossible to drive out of it with this skinny ass little ramp over here. So anyways, then you round up around here, and then you're back to the starting line more or less and into the next lap. Now let's take a look at the crawler trail course. Alright, so here's the beginning of the crawler and trail course. This course is basically designed for 3 different types of trucks. The easiest passages are for your dollhouse type trucks, you know, real small wheels, low ground clearance, very detailed and nice paint jobs that you don't want to fuck up. Then you have your, your pretty much midline, most popular 1.9 type of stuff that's fairly modified. There's a lot of it's going to be 4-linked and shit like that, so it's pretty capable. And then there's the extreme shit for 2.2s, 8th scales, stuff like that. So you start here, up this big ramp here is your 2.2 track, up this one here is your 1.9 track, and under the bottom through the small stick trail is your easy stuff. So you get up to the top in the 2.2s, and you can see it's big, chunky, craggy shit all the way across. The middle one is a lot more subdued. Still some obstacles. There's a couple axle hangers built into here, but nothing real crazy. And then the bottom is pretty much just sticks, which actually can be quite a pain in the ass. Anybody with a little bit of experience knows that. But they're doable, and they won't generally fuck your truck up too bad. Now when you get to the end, you can either go down there, or if you come through the middle with a 2.2 truck, like if you're running a wide truck like AR60 axles on a Wraith or something like that, that's going to be too wide for you. So you can actually drive right through this ramp, and then you can finish off down here. If you come around the 1.9 side, then you go down this, which has plenty of cuts on it. It's a nice, interesting run. Can actually be a bit of a pain in the ass if you're a little overzealous, you go too fast. And then with these shut, that's obviously going to be your complete down or up ramp, depending on the direction you're going for the 2.2s. And when you get up into this stuff, these are all one screwed in on purpose so that they pivot, which can make it a real fucking pain in the ass. Next thing, move on to the pyramid. The ramps on either side of the pyramid don't go all the way to the ground, so there's a little bit of a challenge there. They're mostly reasonably easy up to about here. Then if you have a small truck or a less capable truck, you can go onto the side bridge and bypass the peak. The peak If you're driving a big 2.2 truck or an 8th scale, is not terribly hard to drive right over. 1.9 trucks, you usually have to kind of rest your front tires against here and pop the front end up so you don't hang up on the skid plate. Trucks love to get hung up here and just balance, and then they don't fucking go anywhere. And then down is pretty simple as well. Then there's a nice craggy rock crawl hidden under all these fucking leaves. The difficulty depends on the line. If you come in low and stay close to the 2x4, it's pretty easy. If you go up higher, the chunks are higher, the pile's a little bit bigger, and it's a little bit harder. Then we go into the bridge. This was the first thing that I built. So you can see this up ramp is very steep. I don't know how many degrees in it, but it's pretty steep. And for traction, it's got these hex-headed screws, which add something, but they're not really sharp on the heads, so they're not amazing. So that's a very challenging ramp. It is doable, but it's a pain in the ass. Then there's the bridge. Just random different timbers and rocks and shit. This one is kind of, there's only one pass here, so it's doable by everything. It's not extremely hard if you have a really capable truck, but it's still fun. The down ramp here can be a real bitch. It's just barely wide enough for smaller wheelbase vehicles, but it is wide enough. If you really know your truck and really know how to drive, it's doable, but it's fucking hard. Then we go into the Teeter Totters, and a pair of Teeter Totters for 2 different wheelbases, and they are the biggest ones I've ever seen, and I made them that way on purpose. The fulcrum is over 4 feet on both of them, and they're both 12 feet long. They're fucking huge. I've never seen Teeter Totters this big. This white one on the inside here is made for more standard wheelbase stuff, where you have about 6 inches between the inside of the tires, and this big long bastard is for 8th scale and AR60 stuff that has more like, you know, somewhere in the 8-10 inch neighborhood in between the tires. This one also doesn't have anything in the deck yet for traction. So far it doesn't seem to have needed it. I may end up putting staples in it eventually. We'll see. All this stuff is always evolving. This one has staples in the deck so you get traction, because 99% of the time a truck just flat out won't crawl that. Then we get off into the next ramp that goes up to another set of bridges. This one's not complete yet. At the base of this, we're going to put a pile of rocks right here. So when you come off here, you're going to climb up some rocks and go across here. There'll be a couple of catch boards that you can crawl up over this with. And then this entire tray is going to be covered in big fucking rocks for the big trucks to crawl up all the way up the ramp. The smaller stuff comes up the outside here, and it's just wide enough for the truck. So you're not going to come up here with anything with an AR60 axle. It just won't fit. And when you get up to the top, 2 different rope bridges. This one's nice and skinny and tippy, so you got to be tires right over the ropes, otherwise you got to worry about flipping your truck. And this one is obviously for bigger trucks, but it's got some nice big obstacles and shit to crawl over, which can get a little hairy. Then when we get to the other side, again, this ramp is only wide enough for skinny wheelbase trucks. You're not going to fit anything wide, and this one's got some crawl shit on it. And then we got this board here to make you side hill down. This side is going to end up having a bunch of rocks and shit on it too, so it's going to be a rock climb up and down. Just ran out of rocks. Next we go to the side hill ramp. This one goes up, turns 90, and then comes down the other side. It's not a real extreme tilt, but it's enough with how craggy and fucked up the deck is. It's enough to really get your truck leaning, especially once you get up here to try to make this curve. It's really hard to get a truck around here without the back tire coming off of this hook here. So I got this fucking knife edge little board right here that sometimes you can get a back tire to follow across. It's a really hard thing to do, but it is doable. And this gap is almost proven to be too much. I might have to close that up a little bit. We'll see. And then you go through some more chunky, craggy shit on the way down. Then you go into a log crawl here. This is another one where it depends on the line you take as to how hard it is. And then this whole next bridge is basically just track parts that are stored that I don't have anything to do with right now, so I set them up so you could drive over them. Very simple bridge, nothing crazy. And that brings you over to the top of the hill. Let me get down to the bottom and I'll show you how you get down. Alright, so there's 3 ways down the hill. If you want to take the extremely easy way, here's just a straight dirt hill, not really anything going on. The most extreme way is this, just pile of rocks and blocks and craggy shit. This is a real good way to fuck a body up if that's what you're looking to do. And then the mostly intermediate way is the switchback. You've probably seen this in several of the videos. Coming up here, and then you cruise down, going from side to side. Those little white fences, they're there to kind of kick the back tires around so that you can get down, because they're really tight turns. They're actually tighter than most trucks will turn. So it can be a bit of a pain in the ass. It's deceivingly hard to come down. It's not nearly as bad to go up, but it can be a real bitch to come down. And once you're down, over here, there is the mud bog, which is mostly full of leaves right now, but it's lined with plastic. You can flood that out, make it nice and muddy. We actually have a 55-gallon drum up here collecting rain, which the funnel keeps blowing out of because the wind won't fuck off. And that way we can just dump it in there. We don't have to bring the hose over. Once you get through there, come over here to the retaining wall bridge. This is at a bit of a side angle too, so you side hill your way up here. And then there's 2 possible passes here. Your less capable trucks will go across here and down the main bridge over the logs. Your more capable, crazy stuff will rock crawl up the rest of the way to the top. This isn't complete yet. And then you'll go across the top and come back down on the other end of the bridge. This end, you can see we got some logs. Then this is a very sharp up, so if you want to be able to make it up this, you got to put your outside tires on this rail, and that'll help you get past that. That's a real pain in the ass. Nothing done on this deck yet. Gonna have to get something going on there. And then the upper crawl will end here and come back down to meet the main path, and then you'll go down the ramp here. We used to go across and go into this garden here, which you can see in a lot of our different videos and stuff, but I don't really want to go into this garden anymore, and I need rocks to complete the top wall crawl right here. So we're going to go ahead and pull all the rocks and blocks and stuff that are built into this crawl out and put them in there. So I'm not going to go into that because it's going away pretty soon. So then you'll come out of the bottom of the ramp, which is right back there, drive basically across my shadow up here, and then you go up this hill right here into the garden. You go across here, you go up over these rocks here, and then across the retaining wall across the back. And when this garden is flowering in the nice weather, the only thing that's not covered in plants is about a 10 or 11 inch wide path right up against that wall in the back. So you come all the way across to here. Now from right here you can go 2 different ways. You can either go across here to the staircase, or you can come down here along the edge of the rock wall, and you can go down this big craggy nasty pile of shit and out this way. If you come over to the stairs, you come through right here, you go across this stair, around here, back across this stair, down and out that way. Then you come across the backyard past the fire pit, come around the corner to another rock crawl. This is another spot that difficulty completely depends on the line you take. I tend to find it the easiest to stick to the outside here all the way up pretty much, and then cut across at the end. If you go right up the middle, it's a bitch, and if you hang on the left side with your tires on these big fucking rocks, it can be a bitch. And you get up here, you go under the staircase, up the hill, try to stick to the side by the air conditioner here until you get all the way up to the top. Then you zoom across to the next bridge. This is another extremely steep climb. This ramp is covered in staples too. This one's a real bitch. It's easy to flip over backwards. Then you drive through the platform onto that cable bridge. This bridge is fun, we'll put it that way. It's a good way to drop a truck. Got rocks and shit down there you can bash your bodies on. Completely open center deck, independent treads. So yeah, you got to come across that pretty much perfect. Over here we got some new stuff. This big rock crawl on the bottom is for more capable stuff. Again, it's full of leaves. I got to get in there and clean that shit out. Brings you all the way through the corner of the yard and back out. And we built this bridge where if you have a little truck, you can come down the ramp, kind of go around under there and come up this ramp. And there'll probably be some blocks and stuff to crawl on this bridge, but for now it's just a bridge. And that'll bring you all the way down and out of that section. Then next we got the pipe bridge, and the pipe bridge has 2 up ramps. This is an add-on for less capable trucks. You can make the ramp less steep. If you want to get extreme, you can take it off. And there's no tread on that. That's a real bitch to climb, especially when it's wet. I might have to put staples on it. Then you go down 10 feet of 3/4 inch copper pipe. And once you get out of that, you come over to the little center garden here where the tree is. Kind of crag your way up these rocks, blocks, whatever you want to call them. Go across, drop off of this on the other side, and then you head back across to the beginning. And that's the track as it stands right now. This thing is ever evolving. We're always adding stuff to it, changing shit around, making the obstacles better, and we'll continue to do so. Eventually I'd like to get everything painted white so it's nice and clean and matches, but for now it all works. Makes for some cool videos and makes for lots of fun with crawl trucks. So there you go. Hopefully we gave you some ideas. Hopefully we get a few people out in the backyard with a saw and a fucking screw gun to make some cool shit to play with your trucks on. And yeah, that's it. So don't forget to drop us a like, leave us a comment, share the video with a friend, check us out on our new social media pages, and we'll see you next time on Adult RC, where grown-up time is playtime.